Do, it's Stace and Barry coming at you in the morning with season 4, episode 5, where they talk about stuff in their lives. Hello, welcome to Stace.
Will they talk about stuff in their lives? Just breaking down that lyric there. Talk about.
Do we or do we not talk about stuff and our lives?
Yeah, but I
is that not a very accurate description of this show?
Yeah, I suppose it is. I guess it is. So first off, hello everyone.
I'm Stace. That's Barry.
Yeah, that'd be me, Barry. My cat Steve is next to me on the laptop, still being a dick. Get off the laptop. So my little slice of life, I want to give a shout out to something which is even more annoying than my cat, who's still sitting on my laptop, and that's our fire alarm. Who, for the purpose of this, I'm going to call Eddie. Eddie the fire alarm. Eddie the fire alarm, who died sadly today.
Oh no.
Don't be too sad, because Eddie the fire alarm died because Eddie the fucking fire alarm woke me up at 3 o'clock in the morning last night.
Oh no.
Like, basically, I'll keep your story brief because it's pretty boring. Raising expectations. So we got a new fight. Eddie had been running out for a little while, and when they do that, they just beep every so often. It's really annoying. It's like white noise.
Yeah.
And we got a new fire alarm, replaced it, put Eddie down, put Eddie away somewhere, and thought, we must get rid of him at some stage. But it's fine. He's not making any noise. Every so often he'll make a beep. It's just Eddie. Just ignore him. He's fine. Anyway, last night he'd obviously had enough, and it just started at 3 in the morning. And for some reason, no one else in the house heard it apart from me.
Amazing.
That's one word. So I came downstairs, somehow managed to turn it off. I don't know how. Went back upstairs, and honestly, it was like from then on until I eventually got up, he was haunting me. Because all I could hear was a faint fire alarm. Even though I was 110% sure I turned it off, all I could hear was a fire alarm. I was like, I'm still going. You think I'm not going, but I'm still going. I'm right here. It was like he was Batman, the fire alarm. I'm right here. Where are you? Here.
I'm right behind you.
Yeah.
I'm under your pillow.
So in the end, I went back and I took a screwdriver to Eddie.
Oh no! Is it like that? Is it like that episode of Friends where Phoebe's fire alarm won't stop going off?
Yeah, no, I could have probably used that analogy to be far easier and simpler. Yeah, it's like that. I went downstairs, I lost my shit and took a screwdriver to it, and I couldn't really I was trying to be really like kind and sort of slightly pry it off so I could get to it. Nope. In the end, I ripped it apart and cut wires like I was defusing a nuclear bomb.
Oh, see, why did you keep him after you got the new one? Or is that a question I shouldn't ask?
I don't know, because I'm insane. I don't know.
It is a bit insane, dear.
Yeah, but he's gone now. So that was 4 minutes of boredom that you're not going to get back.
Welcome to Stace and Barry in the Morning, where we talk about stuff and our lives.
Yay.
And sometimes our lives aren't that interesting.
Yeah.
No, I love you, B. I love you. And I feel bad that a fire alarm haunted you throughout the evening, because I think there's very little in the world worse than a bad night's sleep. But especially when it's brought on by something as irritating as a fire alarm going deet at you all the time.
Yeah. What really scares me is going to bed tonight and hearing it and knowing that I've killed him.
Yeah, because it's all in your mind.
I killed you.
It's psychological warfare.
It's impossible. He can't be alive. You're not a god. Oh
dear! Just the ghost of a fire alarm just haunting your bedroom.
If you've been haunted, maybe I might do that's a new reality show. You know, you see that Most Haunted where they go around, and I might do like most haunted fire alarm edition where I just go around to people's houses and like scope out whether their fire alarms have been destroyed and now haunted. Anywho.
Yeah. Anyway, shall we do a segment?
Yeah, please, for the love of God, let's do it.
Let's do some musical musings. Jazz. Do you mind if I go first?
I'd love you to go first because I've been rambling.
Well, earlier today, right, Rich watched Jurassic World Dominion Park, whatever it's called. I've already forgotten.
Jurassic World Dominion Park.
Yeah.
Right, okay. That's the previously unmentioned sequel to the prequel. The side.
Oh dear. Oh no, your sound has gone. What's happened here?
I'm still here.
Okay, good. I thought I'd scared you off with my Dominion.
No.
Nonsense.
Jurassic World Dominion Park.
Jurassic World Dominion Park, and a thing struck me as he was watching it, and I say he was watching it because I got bored and started reading a book. Was that Jurassic Park is like very close to a perfect film in this little nerd's eyes, and so I was like, hey, do you remember how it's got a rad soundtrack? And then I just went and listened to it. It's that to do, because it's great. So I decided to choose a track called "Welcome to Jurassic Park," which is by obviously by the ever amazing John Williams.
Obviously.
Yeah, I don't think it needs an introduction in that sense, does it? And the reason I picked this track is because there's sort of two themes that run throughout Jurassic Park that aren't the like, oh, you're being chased by dinosaurs themes. And this one combines both of those. And I'll be honest, everybody else seems to prefer the first half of this track, which is the like do 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 do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm a really big fan of the second half of this track, which is the one that goes ba 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 da da. It's all like
that sounded insane. Like Jurassic. Welcome to Jurassic Park as hummed by Fuzzy Bear.
That's definitely Dominion Park. Jurassic World Fuzzy Park. Yeah, so I picked this track because it's two amazing themes done for one film by an absolute composer genius, who just like consistently proves that he's amazing every time he puts like pen to sheet music paper. So yeah, that's what I went with. I did really want to pick a piece of music from Jurassic World. Is it just Dominion? What is it called?
Answers on a postcard, kids.
But I'll be honest, I
think it is just.
Is it just Dominion? Yeah. Well, I didn't really pay attention to it simply because I haven't seen the second one, so I won't. It's not that I won't understand it. What a stupid thing to say. It's dinosaurs in a park, innit? But I did think to myself, no, come on, pick a song from this film. But then I couldn't tear myself away from the Jurassic Park soundtrack because it's just too good.
Yeah,
so that's what I picked. Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Good choice.
Cheers, man.
Yeah, and he's known for that. John Williams, like taking two themes and kind of mashed them together because he did. Yeah. He did the same, I think, with the Raiders theme. I think it was two themes originally.
Yeah.
You had Marion's theme and obviously got the Raiders march. And I think he kind of mixed them together. So yeah, good on you, Jono.
He's a good egg, isn't he?
He's a good one. He is. So my pick. So I've recently watched Vikings. You've heard of this?
Oh, hello. Yeah, I have heard of it, but I've not watched it.
Yeah. So. I think Vikings originally started off on the History Channel, and then it kind of got a bit of a cult following, and it sort of became massive. And I think there's 6 seasons, and it completely passed me by. And so recently, I finally decided to go and watch it, see what the fuss was about. And I absolutely loved it. I blitzed through it. I say blitz through it, it's quite a few episodes, so there wasn't that much blitzing, but I did rinse through it as quickly as I could. And I loved it. It had a real kind of epicness to it, largely due to not just the performances, but the music is stunning. And most of it is done by Trevor Morris.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. He did Castlevania. That's probably where I heard it from.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, he did. Did music for Castlevania TV series, which was good. I must do a pick of that. So I have picked. It's called Death of a Legend, and it's proper epic, haunting. It lives up to the hype of that title, especially given the particular character whose death it is. And in the show, it was a bit of a jaw dropper for me, and it was an amazing sort of sequence. I won't say who the character is, obviously. But yeah, it's great. And I think once you listen to this piece of music, you'll want to go back and listen to the soundtrack. I think regardless whether or not you want to watch the show or not, I think you'd love the soundtrack. Have you ever listened to any Clannad? You know, who did like the Robin Hood stuff?
Yeah. I think I did, because you picked it previously for a musical musings, and I was like, what's a Clannad? Because I'm an idiot.
It's down the road from Dominion Park, love.
Oh no. I don't help myself with my reputation of being a bit of a div, do I? I'm cute though. Oh.
Yeah, you are.
Oh dear.
But yeah, it's got overtones of that, but obviously with a real kind of Vikings vibe to it. And I think it's not just Trevor Morris that does some of the music in this, because there's another track as well which I was going to pick, called Snake Pit Poetry by Elnar Selvik, which is awesome as well. But I think some of this music, some of the people who do the music in this also did the music in the Vikings Valhalla Assassin's Creed game.
Oh, okay.
Which I am planning to pick up at some stage now that I've finished the TV show and I'm out.
Okay. Oh, that was a very abrupt ending there.
Okay, I could add. Go and listen to it. I think you'll like it. And I'm out.
Okay, cool. That would have been better than the just shouty nonsense I did earlier.
I just think I just had a thought. I've got a big Panama hat upstairs.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure I've got like a sort of short sleeve shirt somewhere. So I think what I might do is put all that on, and then whoever comes to my house next, I might play the Welcome to Jurassic Park music really loudly and go, "Welcome to my home." Dum, da, dum, da, 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 da.
That would be really cool.
Yeah. No one really comes there apart from the postman, and I think he'll get it somehow.
I think he'd just be like, will you just take this package you brought up?
Yeah. Well, no, welcome to Dominion Park. Dum, 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 dum.
I'm never going to live that one down, am I?
On your left, Clannad. Dum, 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 dum.
Clannadasaurus. Amazing.
Yeah, Clannadasaurus.
Come on, we've got so much to talk about. Let's do another trumpet. San Diego Comic Con. That was a thing that just happened, and we're going to talk about it.
Yeah. San Diego Comic Con. Loads of stuff. Loads of
so much stuff. Too much stuff, really.
Do you know what? Let's not bother. There's so much stuff. Let's just not bother.
Well, I wrote a load of stuff down, and then I was like, right, eliminate the things that you don't really care that much about. Because it's too much. Go on.
Can I start with the one thing that I do care about? Because I feel that one of the things about San Diego is that everyone talks about like trailers and Marvel and DC, and no one really talks so much about the comics.
Yeah.
The actual comics. And one of the things that got announced, he says, now that I've said all that, I've now lost the link. Great work, Neej. Great. Is that they've I'm filling as I'm typing it in. They've announced that they're doing a sequel to the Last Ronin comic.
Right, I wrote that down as well. Yeah, it's going to be called The Last Ronin, The Lost Years, and it's going to be Kevin Eastman and Tom Waltz again, teaming up with S.L. Gallant and Ben Bishop again, and it's going to be a 5-issue miniseries, because I wrote all of this stuff down. But that's basically all they've said about it as yet, but I imagine it's just going to be like, I almost said which turtle it was. What a terrible spoiler that would have been.
Ooh.
I imagine it's just going to be things that the last Ronin was up to, like in between the bits. Like, do you know what? I don't even want to say anymore because I'm going to spoil everything about the last
stuff
Ronin.
That happened before shit went really down.
Yeah, let's say that. Because I've read The Last Ronin now. I've got the fancy hardback, and you're right, it was good, and I should have read it when it came out.
Fucking told you, didn't I?
What an absolute fanny I am.
It's a banger, isn't it?
It is a total like, it's so good. Might have done one or two little cries.
Yeah. And I just kept thinking every page I turn, it's like, that's how you fucking do the turtles.
Yeah, it was very, very good. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to this. They haven't said exactly when it's going to be out yet, and they haven't said exactly what it's going to be about yet. But to be honest, I don't think I want to know. I think this is enough information for me to, like, tantalise the old taste buds.
I think the fact it's the same creative team is enough to keep me on board. I think if it hadn't been, I might have been more worried about it being a bit of a cash grab and a bit of I don't know, could be sliding quality.
Well, I've got to say, the one thing that did worry me a bit is the article that I read was referencing the fact that this is going to be like the first spin-off in what they're calling the Ronin verse. And I'm I saw that, yeah. I don't know how I feel about that, based purely on the fact that I think The Last Ronin was such a good story in and of itself. I wonder if we're, like you say, milking that idea perhaps a bit too much. But I'll see where this goes. Like, if it turns out that the Lost Years is crap, then we know that, they are.
Yeah, they were lost for a reason.
Yeah, it's like, do you know what? Maybe I don't need the Ronin verse. Maybe I'll just read The Last Ronin again and just enjoy that again.
Yeah, that's kind of my take on it. Is I don't think everything has to be a verse, but like I can jump ship whenever I want to. So I'm not that bothered. I'm excited to see. I'm more excited for the creative team and the fact that they're kind of revisiting it.
Yeah.
Than I am for whatever story they're going to tell, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we shall see. I don't know that I think about it.
Well, that's the thing, because unless they pad out the stories of how it became, because I know you do find out in The Last Ronin, like, how he became The Last Ronin. Like, yeah, unless they pad it out, I don't see what. I don't know. I'm interested to see where it goes, but like, yeah.
I think part of it was so well told. I know we've using all our airtime on one bit of news, but who gives a fuck?
It's our show. Do I like it?
Yeah, if you don't like it, there's the door. Do you know what I mean? They did such a good job at tying up all the loose ends and giving you a sense of history, I guess, in those issues, that I wasn't left thinking I'd really like to know about this particular thing. I was kind of, no, everything's covered, and I suppose that's my only concern. But then you tell me it's exactly the same team of people, and I'm like, well, no, I feel that they've got a good idea for them to be tackling it again. Yeah,
I'm very much in the wait and see camp. Like, I'm cautiously optimistic, but also not really expecting the world. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think, like, I think if I read it and I was like, oh, this is a bit crap, I don't think it would, like, ruin my life or anything. But so we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Okay. Well, moving on, before we get on to like the aforementioned Marvel.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
There's a lot of that. I don't even know. Yeah. One of the things that they sort of dropped, which I had I must have seen a news release to say they were working on it, but I'd completely forgotten about it. And that was a trailer for a Dungeons and Dragons film.
Oh yes, yeah, I've actually watched this.
Yeah, I didn't even know. I was like, what? And then when I started to watch the trailer, I'm like, but that's Chris Pine, and that's the dude from Bridgerton. I'm like, what is going on?
See, I've got like no stake in this one at all, because I've never played D&D in my life. So I'm sure there were some like real juicy Easter eggs in there that would have absolutely sailed over my head. And all I could think, like, so it didn't sell me on it, because all I could think while I was looking at it was, oh, that's Chris Pine.
Do you know?
And I feel bad about that because it's not his fault he's a famous man.
It's not his fault he's Chris Pine.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, of course he's famous. He's a very famous actor. Like, anybody who would be cast in that role would also be the same. But, like, in my head, I just can't, like, divorce him from the fact that, like, I can't imagine him sword and sorcery in it around. Do you know what I mean?
No, it's... and honestly, I 100% agree with you. That was my kind of takeaway. I think I've watched the trailer, no, maybe just once, maybe twice, I don't know. And the first time round, I just kept going, that's Chris Pine. That's the bloke from Bridgerton. And like, I say that, I'd never seen a single episode of Bridgerton, but Sue has, so I knew it was him. And it's got Hugh Grant, isn't it? And I'm like, it's Hugh Grant's in it.
Yeah.
And it felt a bit like I was watching like some sort of sketch show comedy, and this was like a Dungeons and Dragons sketch where they were kind of taking the piss. That's not saying I thought the trailer was rubbish, but it felt like they were taking the piss out of Dungeons and Dragons, and they got like an all-star cast as like the questing party sort of thing. So it was odd. Whereas when they did the casting for Lord of the Rings, I thought what was really good about the casting was they had big names in there, but I don't know, the people that they cast fitted.
Yeah.
From the off, you were like, Ian McKellen's Gandalf. It's like, yeah, well, of course he is. Christopher Lee's Sauron. Yeah, of course he is. So everyone just slotted straight in, and it didn't take you out of it. Whereas the minute he came on, I was kind of like, what's Chris Pine doing?
Well, this is the thing, because like I was talking to Rich about this, because I said like, it's weird that like I've literally watched Chris Pine in the Wonder Woman movies, and it didn't bother me then. Like I was like, oh yes, this is Steve Trevor. But I said I think it's because the trailer didn't feel to me like what I was anticipating of a Dungeons and Dragons movie. Like it was very like jokey, and it was very like, oh, cool, blimey, what a load of fun we're going to have. And I was like, I get that that's the tone of it, so that's fine. But because of that, it almost felt like you say, like almost a sketch comedy kind of like parody almost of itself. Like I don't know what I'm trying to say, but basically it just felt very not. It felt like it was a modern take on a medieval thing, and that's why it felt like he stuck out like a sore thumb, because he feels like a modern guy to me.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And I'm interested to see when they drop another trailer, what the tone is they're doing the next trailer. Because I've seen it before. They've done a trailer and it's just, it hasn't landed. And then they do a second trailer and I'm like, yep, okay, I get it now. To me, it felt like when they were sitting around the table talking about how they're going to put this trailer together, like some executive has gone, I want it like Guardians of the Galaxy, but with sword and sorcery. So I want rock music. I want gags. I want more gags.
You know, the music, I can't remember which song it was now, but as soon as it started, Rich turned to me and went, why do they keep doing this? And I was like, I don't know. Because we are both 1,000% sick of like, oh, needle dropping the trailers, lads.
Yeah.
Like, we're just done with that now. I wish I could remember what song it was, but like as soon as it kicked in, Rich just looked at me, and I was like, I think this is where it started feeling like too modern for me as well, because when I think Dungeons and Dragons, I think like big swooping violin orchestra stuff. Like I want some of that kind of like almost. I mean, I hate to say it because, like, I hate the movies and I hate the person who wrote these, but the soundtracks are still good. Like the Harry Potter type, wizardy, magical.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I wanted, like, that sort of thing, and it's just playing, like, I mean, I can't even remember what song it was, but, like, I don't know, Guns N' Roses or some bollocks, and I'm like, no, it's not. No. I wish I could remember what song it was, and I think it didn't help either that it was, like, they also released some more like little teasy trailers for the Lord of the Rings Rings of Power show, and that to me, I mean, I'm not even that bothered.
Let's move on because that's a good segue, Stace.
Okay, well, I'm not even that like big on Lord of the Rings. Like I think I had a real hard time reading the trilogy. And I only finished it out of like completionist sake. And the movies I thought were beautiful but incredibly boring, like to me at least. It's just a lot of walking and people whinging to me. Like that's not what every now and then there's like a spider or like a fucking, I don't know, a golem going, oh, I'm having a cry in a river. Like, I don't care. Sorry, everyone. There goes my nerd card. But
we can agree on, because it took me ages to read the book, and I really struggled reading the second book. I was just like, how much more walking can we do? I'm bored.
Do you know what? Yeah, I think the thing for me, and your mileage may vary, but personally, I find Tolkien spends a lot of time describing completely inane things like a tree or a hill or a view or a song, and then something exciting like a ring wraith will show up and it's over in a paragraph, and you're like, no, but that's what I want to. Oh, what we do.
But I disagree. We agree to disagree in the film because I love the films.
Well, I think they're absolutely stunning. Like, I was absolutely mesmerised by how they looked and like the costume design and like the set design. Like, I thought it looked amazing, but by the end I was like, I don't understand how anybody ever wants to watch the extended versions because I can barely sit through the normal ones. But the Rings of Power stuff, so I'm not even like gung-ho on that, but immediately that felt to me like a magical, medievally, Middle-earthy. Do you know what I mean? Like, yes. I immediately got that feeling of like, oh, this is what we're going for. And like, even though it's got one of the world's most recognisable faces, Matt Smith, in it, like, he still looks like he belongs there in that universe because they've done makeup and they've done hair.
Lord of the Rings, don't you?
Is it not?
No.
I thought he was in that as well.
No, he's the one.
So, oh God, what am I thinking of?
So obviously there's Lord of the Rings, which is Rings of Power.
Yeah.
And the one that Matt Smith is in, which they have dropped a trailer for, is Game of Thrones, House of... I think it's House of Dragons.
Okay. Well, I've bamboozled myself here then. I've got even less time for Game of Thrones. Oh, mate. Well, either way, it was something medieval-esque and it had Matt Smith in it and he looked like he belonged there, is the point I was trying to make. Yeah. Oh, mate. What a dickhead. Oh, definitely take my nerd card off me now because, do you know what? I blame San Diego. There's too much stuff. Yeah. Too much stuff and it got confusing. But yes, so, like, I don't know about the D&D movie. I'll wait to see, more of what it's going to be like.
Yeah, and, I agree.
I probably won't watch Lord of the Rings and I definitely won't watch Game of Thrones, so... Anyway, my opinion is moot. I don't know why anyone's listening to me.
Oh, did you see? And then we will get on. Otherwise, it will be all year. But I want to talk a bit of Marvel. But I just want to briefly slot in. Yeah. Much like they did, they slotted in a trailer for John Wick 4 or a teaser trailer.
Yes, I did see that. John Wick is a weird one for me, Barry, because I have absolutely flipping loved all of the films as I've watched them, but I've never gone back and rewatched them because I never feel inclined, and I don't know what that says about me and all the movies.
I'm the same, actually.
Like, there's nothing necessarily wrong with them, although I will say I don't think Keanu Reeves can act, but I'm not sure it really matters in in John Wick. But like, yeah, I've enjoyed them as I've watched them, but I've never had any impetus to like, oh, shall I rewatch the John Wicks? Like, I'm not going to do it.
I think no, that's not true. I've rewatched the first one, and I enjoy. It's a little bit. Bear with me. It's a little bit like the Last Ronin and the Last Ronin Lost Years that we talked about. I loved the first John Wick, and I think part of the reason I loved it was it came out of nowhere. I loved the premise of it. I loved the fact that he does start off, even though yes he's Keanu Reeves, but he starts off pretty normal. Yeah. Until they fuck him over and kill his dog, and then you suddenly realise it's when he tells a story about who he actually is, and you suddenly realise just how badass this guy is. Yeah. Now everyone is scared of him, and it just continues to like elevate through the film. And on many ways, as much as I've enjoyed the other two, there's another part of me that kind of wishes it was just one.
Yeah, I don't feel like they ever really captured the magic of the first one again.
Because you couldn't really. I think it's like you've opened Pandora's box. You couldn't really go back.
Yeah.
So he just gets more and more badass with each. As each sort of each film comes out, and you get the bigger world that gets more expanded and stuff, and that is interesting. But I just like the idea. I just love the way they did the first one. Maybe because it was a bit more small budget and it wasn't this big phenomenon that it's become.
Yeah. But I will say the trailer did what it needed to do, because I'll go and see it.
Yep.
I will go and see that. Before we move on to Marvel, Barry, because I know you really wanted to, did you watch the Shazam trailer?
Yes, I did.
Isn't it good?
I did like it, actually. Yeah, I did like it. I enjoyed the first film. I think I didn't enjoy it as much as everyone else did, because I think everyone kept telling me incessantly how much I was going to enjoy it, and it's never good for me. But I did enjoy it. I watched it with a couple of kids as well. Not kids that I just got and.
I was going to say.
Because preferably they were friends' kids. Anyway. So, and I think watching it with them as well made me enjoy it a little bit more, because they loved it.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing about Shazam for me was that it's one of the very few comic book movies that feels like it really revels in being a ridiculous comic book movie.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't matter that it's a bit insane and a bit, you know, and the main guy is actually a small child in a big buff dude's bod. Like, it just leans into that. It's like, hello, yes, we're very silly, but we're good still. That'll do.
There's a sort of Spider-Man vibe to it in that.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, that's probably why I liked it. Talking of Spider-Man, let's move on. Did you see the preliminary designs for Spider-Man freshman year show?
No, because all I heard that they would do, I saw the announcement. This is animated, isn't it?
It is, yeah, and it looks amazing, like designs-wise. Yeah. Peter Parker looks absolutely chef's kiss, because it somehow looks modern, but also looks like very early Spider-Man comics. Like,
ooh.
Yeah, have a little look when you get a chance. I was very, very pleased with how it is shaping up to look. The thing that I'll be more interested in, though, is going to be the voice cast. Want to know who's going to be in it, please? Because, I've got a bit of a bee in my bonnet at the moment about voice actors and, voice acting jobs being given to just regular old actors who aren't actually that good at it, over people who are actually, like, trained voice actors. Because voice acting is very different to actual acting. They're very different things.
Yeah.
And I don't think people realise that just because you're an actor doesn't mean you're necessarily good at being a voice actor, and vice versa.
Yeah, and you do get that in some of the DC and probably more the DC than the Marvel animated stuff. You do get that where they've got in like a kind of special guest star or whatever, or famous actor to play Batman or something like that, and you kind of feel like
Well, for me, the best example of it was What If, because a lot of the people who played their own normal characters in that were not very good.
Yeah.
I still haven't finished that, though, so maybe I should shut my mouth, but...
I enjoyed that.
Yeah. Anyway, so...
Anywho, Marvel. She-Hulk, go.
Yeah, it looks all right. I mean, I'm still... how to delicately talk about this with how little time we've got left. I am currently in a bit of a love-hate with Marvel, because on the one hand, everything that they're doing sounds amazing, and I'm very excited for all the phases and most of the TV shows, and it's all looking very good. But at the same time, a lot of people are coming out to say, hey, guess what? They're really shitty in terms of their VFX companies, and like asking us to do too much all the time, and it's really hard to work for Marvel and also do a good job, which explains why some of the effects in the She-Hulk trailer maybe were not. Okay, what's the best way I can describe this? She looks flat. You know how when Ruffalo Hulk is Hulk and he looks like a fully rendered man? Like,
I know,
to me, she looks like somebody has put like a green filter just over a woman. Do you know?
Yeah, it's weird because go on.
Sorry, go on. Well, I was just going to say that, like, I feel bad saying that now that I'm hearing all this stuff coming out about how Marvel are like basically just treating people like utter shit, with insane like demands and deadlines and overworking and understaffed and all this sort of stuff. So I feel bad saying it, but I also feel like Marvel need to be called out, because your products, if you're going to keep bringing things out, like, I mean, I remember a time when Marvel, there was like 2 movies a year, and now we're looking at like over the next like 2 and a bit years, we're looking at something like 5 Well, is it something like 7 movies and like 8 TV shows and 2 animated? And I'm like, what are we doing? Like, we're literally in a place where you can calm the fuck down for a bit because we've got streaming now, so you don't need to like be constantly at the box. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And I just feel like maybe people need to be calling Marvel out and saying, look, your She-Hulk does look a bit rubbish in the trailer, but do you know what you could do is you could give it the time and the space that it needs to get made properly, maybe, and pay the people and let them take breaks. And I don't know, maybe I'm talking out of turn, but it just feels iffy to me that there's so much happening at a time when there's so many people saying, I almost died doing this job.
I think, like, because I don't want to go. I mean, we could go through every Marvel thing, but we would literally be here until next year. So I'll say about the She-Hulk one. I agree. Yeah, I think you put it right. Actually, is that the opening scenes in the trailer is her with Mark Ruffalo, or her with Hulk, and that's where it's the most obvious, because it almost looks like they've spent so much money on like Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, because he looks
the same as usual. Really good.
Right, it's like all the money. It's like, how much we got left, George? Oh, it's got about 50. Yeah, we've got 50. What can I get for 50? Well, get you a can of green spray paint. No, I mean, I'm being unfair. But it looked, and I don't know if they were trying to sort of do something so she's more feminine. I don't know. But it looked odd. That's what I'll say. However, taking that away, I thought the trailer looked fun. I love the opening bit where like she says something. He says something like, you can go back to the world of being a lawyer if you want, and it doesn't bother me. And she looks at the camera and she's like, yeah, it does. And then he looks and she looks away, and so the humor all felt kind of on point. So I'm kind of all for that. But like you said, I'm also a bit like you. I'm more forgiving of CG just because I grew up in the era of the original Hulk. Where he was literally painted green. So I'm quite forgiving. I can forgive a lot. Do you know what I mean? But I'm also looking at their phase 4 and stuff. Well, no, was it phase 4? I think
it's 5 and 6. They were talking about,
And I think my thing is like, when they were like phase 4 will end with Wakanda Forever. When I thought the trailer for that looked wicked, I didn't even realize that was Namor in it until afterwards. Someone had to tell me.
Oh, I didn't, and do you know why? Because all the other people from Under the Water were blue, and he wasn't. So I thought they were like a whole different thing, and I got very confused.
And I think the first time I watched the trailer, I kind of felt like, why are they fighting people from
the
Avatar?
Na'vi? That's exactly what I said to Rich. I was like, is this a crossover? Because if so, I hate it. And he was like, Stace, they're not going to fucking cross over with Avatar, are you? What's wrong? I was like, but it looks like they're fighting the Na'vi.
It does. It does. I'm sorry, it does. But I thought the trailer looked really good, really respectful. But I kind of like, that's the end of phase 4. But then I felt like this phase has been a real mishmash. And I know what people are saying. Like, but phase 1 was a bit like that, and I was kind of like, I don't know if it was. It felt like phase 1 all led up to Avengers.
I get people's point in that they're saying, like, phase 1 was very sort of experimental in the sense of, like, they weren't sure what was going to stick. They didn't really have, like, a mega plan. So it's not like you could say, like, oh, phase 1 was all about leading up to, Thanos or whatever, because it definitely wasn't. But phase 1 was a lot of setup. So what you forget is we're already at a point now where, like, the majority of the characters and the world that we've established is mostly set up. So, like, anything that comes now sort of feels like it should be going somewhere. And I don't feel like phase 4 has been as yet. Because, like, all roads have been sort of leading toward Kang, but not in a... I mean, if you hadn't watched Loki, I don't think you'd even know that was the thread holding the rest of it together.
And that's part of the problem, I think. I think we've now moved into this era where... Which was a concern, I think, when they first started dropping the Disney Plus shows, in that you're going to need to have watched TV shows. When I watched Doctor Strange 2. I enjoyed it as well, but my takeaway as well was like, well, if you haven't watched WandaVision, you're in for a world of...
Yeah, I had heard a lot of people saying, oh, well, if you haven't watched What If, and I was like, see, that one, because I haven't watched What If, I don't think that affected my enjoyment of it, but I think if you hadn't watched WandaVision, you might be... There's like a throwaway reference to Westview, but that's it. You're like,
Yeah, I can see what people would say the What If thing, but I would say the What If one just...
It enhances your enjoyment rather than that's the feeling I got, because I don't feel like I missed anything.
Yeah, whereas with WandaVision, especially given what happened, I don't want to spoil it, but especially given what happened in Doctor Strange 2, the reasoning for that all comes from WandaVision.
Yeah.
You know, and a couple of throwaway lines I don't necessarily think would have been enough for me. I was all right because I'd seen WandaVision. But not everyone's got Disney Plus, and not everyone wants to watch every show that comes on. And I think my worry is there's only going to be more of that. And even because they've now dubbed, they've now dubbed it the Multiverse Saga, haven't they?
I think so, yeah.
That's what they've now called it. And my thing is, it's like, yeah, but you would have, if you haven't watched Loki. You really are lost if you haven't watched Loki, because that's where it all gets introduced.
Well, I think for me it'll hinge on how they bring Kang in, because I think if they do it in such a way that it feels natural to the films but enhanced by Loki, then it'll be fine. But I feel like if Kang just appears, many people would just be like, what's this now?
But I think the thing is as well is like, you're even saying Kang, and I guarantee, and there'll be people that will be listening to this be going, who the fuck's Kang? Because they haven't watched Loki, because that's the only time he's mentioned. And I feel like you had what films have done multiverse stuff so far? You've had Spider-Man and you've had Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Shang-Chi didn't do it. I was trying to think what else was. Eternals didn't do it. Whereas at least now you could, in phase 1, once they got to the Avengers movie, you were like, okay, Thanos is he's going to be the dude going forward. And it's about those Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
But yeah, just I don't know. There's a lot.
I am very willing, though, to be massively proven wrong, as I am every time a phase ends and I start doing speculating and going, this is where it's all gonna go tits up, and then a film comes out and I'm like, give me some salt for these words. Because I'm about to chow down.
I think I've now moved into what I'm calling the pick and mix phase, in that I feel like when Marvel first got going, I felt like I had to watch everything, because at any point this train's going to come off the tracks and I'm never going to see the like again. And I'm of the era that can remember when there was nothing. So I'm like, I want to ride this train for as long as it goes. So I'm gonna like take everything as soon as it comes out, I'm on it. Whereas now, because there's so much genre stuff and not just TV and film, games, books, comics, all sorts, that was sort of spot for choice, that I don't feel the same urge to watch everything and watch it as soon as it's there. I still haven't watched Miss Marvel. I may watch it at some stage. I may never watch it. I don't know. But it was quite nice when it came on that I didn't suddenly go, I've got to watch it now.
Yeah.
Every week.
Oh, see, I'm still in the I've got to watch it phase, but more because, as we've mentioned previously on this episode, I'm a bit of an idiot, and I worry that if I don't watch everything, then something will get mentioned in a film that was vaguely referenced in a TV show, and because I haven't watched it, I'll be like, I don't get it, and have a little panic and a cry. So I'm pretty much just watching. Also, what else am I going to do with my time?
I think it feels a little bit more like what Marvel are doing is aping what they're doing, what they move towards, and DC with their comics, where you'll get this massive event comic, like Civil War or World War Hulk or whatever it is, and you'll have the main comic, which will be like 6 issues or whatever, and then you'll have like hundreds of these side comics where they'll say you need to have read side comics 2 to 5, blah blah blah, between issues 1 to 2 of the main event, otherwise it won't make sense. And I feel that's what Marvel are moving towards, and the side comics that are like the TV shows.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, you know,
that's kind of what killed comics for me. I've pretty much stopped reading nearly all of them now because it's just too hard to keep track of any of them and to afford them all. And store them all. I know we've talked for a really long time and you've got some dinner to have. Yes. But I just wondered if you'd picked up on the fact that they're saying that Phase 6 is going to start with a Fantastic Four movie, and how you feel about that.
Do you know what? I'd actually forgotten. I saw all the phases and it all just blurred. I was kind of like, there's so much. It's just so much. And I think I need to sort of sit down and actually look at them again.
Yeah.
And a couple of the ones they announced, I'm like, I don't even know what that is. I need to go look that up. Which goes to show how obscure. I'm excited for the Fantastic Four. I'm wondering, I don't know, when I say I'm excited, it's difficult. I think it's difficult to get excited about things that are like, 3-4 years away.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at. And I think as well, I'm also done with so much information coming out all the time. Like, I just want to know, like, I don't know, a couple of months before it's due out, hey, there's going to be a Fantastic Four movie. And then, like, a couple of months after that, I want, like, a trailer, and I'll be like, oh, I'll go and see that. And then the movie comes out, and I go and see it. Like, I have to mute so many words in the lead up to certain films coming out because I get sick of everyone talking about, is this person going to be in it? Here's our fan theory on this. What about this, that, and the other thing? Oh, this actor has said you'll never guess, what fucking guy will turn up in that. I don't care. I just want to go and see a film and be surprised by it and have a good time. Yeah, me too.
I don't think you would. I was more annoyed by some of the announcements of certain films that I'm like, why is it taking that long? And there's a couple that I'm like, I can't believe, because like Blade's not out until, is it 23 or is it 24?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Whatever the year was, I was like, why is it taking so flipping long for Blade?
That feels like it's been a billion years. And I also noticed, quite suspiciously, that the Armour Wars TV show that they'd announced ages ago wasn't in that timeline. The one with Don Cheadle.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it wasn't in that little timeline. So, like, when's that happening?
Also, the new the Captain America one with the Falcon, that's not, I think that's another like 2024 one or something, New World Order.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I like that as a title either.
No, I'm
not excited about this, Barry. I'm scared about how they're going to do it.
Yeah, I'm very concerned that it's just going to be,
I mean, I'm holding like I say, I'm wearing my positivity hat because I think they did pretty well with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier TV show.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that they take that sort of sensitivity and that sort of, sensibleness of writing with them into the film. But I've got to say that subtitle doesn't really sit comfortably for me.
But fortunately, we don't have to worry about it for a couple of years. So
no, we don't.
Good.
In it though.
Right then.
Right.
50 minutes.
Let's do this so you can have some dinner. Hey everybody, if you want to do a message to us, you can tweet at Geek Syndicate or at Stacey's Parlour, or you can send an email to staceandbarry@gmail.com and let us know what you're excited about from San Diego, or if you were there and if it was any good. And also, I hope you haven't got COVID. Love you, everybody. Bye.
Bye all.